Chapter 25. You'd think I would have been more afraid of having a gun pressed against my side, but the events of the last 2 days had substantially increased my tolerance for fear. I didn't go weak in the knees, nor did my heart race. In fact, it seemed that my breathing slowed down as I tried to think of a way to escape. Asher and Simone, however, were another story. They weren't moving, but I could see the shock and panic in their eyes. "Why are you doing this?" I tried to buy some time while I glanced around the empty courtyard. The area was enclosed by a large cement wall, and the only way out was the street we had come in by. "Are you a knight?" Massimo scoffed. "You'd think after working security for them for over 10 years, they'd make me one, but no." His breath hit the side of my ear as he talked. "Dame Elizabeth kept promising, but it was all a lie to string me along. It's time I took care of myself." He pushed me forward, holding me in front of him like a shield. "Now walk to that first alleyway." "I can pay you a lot of money if you let her go," Simone blurted out while we walked past her. "Ha!" Massimo kept walking with me. "As if you could match what the Hastati will give me for a marked one. Now you two better not come any closer." I looked at Asher. He was standing still, his fists clenched. Maybe my chance at escape was farther down the street. "You don't understand! I can give you as much as you want!" Simone shouted. "My mother is Sarah Bimington!" Massimo paused, apparently considering Simone's offer. "You know they'll kill me if you turn me in," I said, trying to make him feel guilty for what he was doing. "That isn't my problem." He shook his head. "No, I'm taking you to the Hastati. You can bargain for your life with them." He tightened his grip on my arm, pushed the gun harder into my ribs, and led me to the first alleyway. "Try anything funny, and I will shoot you. My understanding is that there is still money to be made, even if you are dead." "Massimo! Massimo!" I could hear Dame Elizabeth calling him in the distance. "Walk faster," he ordered as we stepped into the alley. "To that green car." There were no doors or open windows along the buildings that framed either side of the dimly lit alley. The only escape route seemed to be about a block down, where the alley opened up at a busy street. I was out of time. If I got into that dusty old car, my chances of escape would go from slim to none. I had to make my move. As we approached the green car, Massimo loosened his grip on my arm for a second to fish out his keys. It was a split-second decision, but I made it. This was my last chance. I spun away, hoping to catch him by surprise. Darting between 2 parked cars, I started running toward the street. I was about halfway there when I heard a bang, and I felt a bullet whiz by my head. I froze. "Next one won't miss!" Massimo shouted. This time I was scared. Wet my pants, cold shivered down my spine. Nothing can really prepare you scared. I raised my hand and slowly turned back to him. He had a smirk on his face, but only for an instant. Something behind me caught his attention, and as if in slow motion, I saw him pull the trigger. I held my breath, expecting the bullet to hit. Only it didn't. I wasn't his target. And in that moment, the sound of gunfire came from both in front and behind. Massimo staggered and fell to the ground. I spun around to see Dame Elizabeth walking up the alley, a gun in her hand. "Get out of here, Cassandra!" She kept her gun aimed at Massimo. "Now!" I took off, not wanting to see what else was going to happen between Dame Elizabeth and Massimo. "Come on!" Simone yelled. She and Asher were by the street corner. "Go!" I said, already sprinting at full speed. "Go!" We didn't stop running until we were back at the metro station. How? I bent over to catch my breath. "How did she know to save me?" I asked, trying to piece together everything that had happened. Simone was in no condition to talk. She was leaning against the ticket machine, and her breath was coming in and out in short, quick spurts. Asher was the only one who didn't look wiped out. He bought our metro passes from the machine and took one deep breath to regain his composure. "It was Simone," he said. "She ran back into the compound and found your grandmother, running out. The security camera by the front gate had captured Massimo grabbing you. Simone told her what happened." I put a hand on Simone's back. "Thanks, you saved my butt." Simone gave me a small nod and sat down. She was still having trouble breathing. We should head to the monastery, Asher said, checking the time on his phone. We can be there in about 30 minutes. I nodded. I'd nearly been shot, but now it was all almost over. I had the spear. My dad was awake, and he'd be leaving whatever hospital he was in by tomorrow morning. All that was left was to give Brother Gregorio the spear, and everything would fall into place, just like I'd seen in my vision. What could go wrong?